Okay, folks, so right now I'm going to walk you through the Prelab 1 solution. This is my final solution, but I'm going to start with a blank VI and develop it from scratch. So, just as an aid to myself here, I'm going to take a quick screenshot. Make sure I don't leave anything out. So if I start with a blank VI, I know that I'm going to need a while loop. So I go in and I create a while loop. And I'm going to need a stop button. And that'll be a Boolean control. Stop button. And we noticed in a few of the lecture sections that some of you used a different type of Boolean button. You might have used a push button, or a rocker, or a vert rocker, or a slide switch. All of these can have subtly different behavior, meaning, let's say I push the button might stay pushed. Or I push the button and then it disconnects as soon as I let it go. The reason we use this specific stop button is because when I click it, the stop condition turns to true, and then it goes to the stop condition on the while loop and stops the loop. But it doesn't stay true the next time I run it, because if it stayed true the next time I run it, it would just automatically shut off my loop. So you want to be careful to use the stop loop here. And so I will wire my stop loop to my stop condition. I also noticed if you right click here, some folks ended up with this checked, continue if true, instead of stop if true. So they were pushing their stop button and nothing was happening because the stop button was set to true, the loop condition was set to continue if true, and it was just continuing. So we needed an array. So for those of you that watched the array video, we went in here, we went to, data containers, array. We put in an array. We added a numeric control into that array, and we expanded it down until we had 1, 2, 3, 10 elements. And we know that we want that in our loop because if we change those elements while it's running, we want it to recompute our mean. So we have our array, and we know that we want to compute the mean of this array. So there's a number of ways to do that. You could actually add up all of the elements in the array by taking the sum and then dividing by the number of elements. Or you could more simply just ask it for the mean of the array straight away. And so that's going to be in let's see. So we go to the mathematics palette, we go to probability and statistics, prob and stat, and then we can grab mean. So then we'll wire our array into this mean as an input, and we'll see we can output the mean, and we can output some error value if this doesn't work. So we want to display that mean. So we can go over here and create a numeric indicator. Call that numeric indicator mean. We can wire that output to our mean. There were some things that we wanted to do with date and time as well. One thing that I talked about in the videos was the elapsed time component. Oops. We'll go ahead and grab that elapsed time component. Go into timing. Oops. Timing. Elapsed time. Put it in here. We'll expand so that we get full control over all the inputs and outputs. So one of the things that we talked about in the video, when we use this, we want to set the auto reset to false because we don't want the elapsed time to restart every time we execute the loop. So we'll put a Boolean constant in as false, and we'll wire that to the input of the auto reset. And now we can output the elapsed time and the present time either as double precision float numbers or as strings. So let's do them as strings. So we can go into string and path in our front panel, pick string indicator, and we will wire the elapsed time to the string indicator. And then let's say we want to output the present time as well. So we'll go to string and path, string indicator again. And we can wire the present string into, in this case, string 2. We're going to call string 2. Present time. And elapsed time. So now we can run it. We see our present time string doesn't quite fit. So we'll go ahead and stop. We can expand it over. And we can plug in some values here for our array. These radix, that's what this called is here, is these up and down arrows is called a radix. We can choose to show those or not, and we can also, I think, choose how much they increment by when we change them. But in these count up in whole numbers, there's no reason why we couldn't add a few decimal places after if we like. So now when I click run, I see my date and time is counting up, my elapsed time is counting up, and my mean is calculated here. There's one other thing in the assignment that didn't end up in the assignment that we wanted to add, but sort of got miscommunicated. What I wanted you to do was to take the maximum and minimum of your array and put in a toggle switch so that you could display either the maximum or the minimum based on the position of that toggle switch. So what I'm going to do now is move this array down so we have some room to work. We'll move this up and out of the way. So now I know I'm going to want a toggle switch. So I'll go here into a Boolean control, and I'll grab a vertical toggle switch. Now I would like to display either the maximum or the minimum of our array. So I'm going to need a function that allows me to get the maximum and the minimum. So if I go into programming, into comparison, I can pull out a max and min element. Ooh, sorry, that's not the right one. So it is in array max and min. So I'll put that in. And I'll wire my array into this max and min input. And then I'll have the max value that I can grab here and the minimum value that I can grab here. And I know that I want to send that to an indicator. So I will put a numeric indicator on my front panel. And I will call this max or min. So now I can only have one input wired to max or min. So I need some kind of function that allows me to read this Boolean as an input, take these max or min values as inputs, and output one of them to the string, to the numeric indicator. So the thing I'm going to use to do that is under comparison, it's going to be select. You can also do this with a case structure, but we'll show that a little later. Right now we'll just use this select. So I'm going to wire the output of my Boolean to this question mark, S. So when S is true, or the Boolean is up, or the switch is up, it's going to output this value T. And when it's down, it's going to output this value F. So I'm going to wire my maximum to T and my minimum to F. So let's see how we did. So I click run. Right now my switch is down. I should be displaying the minimum value. And indeed, in my array, the minimum value is -3. If I flip it up, I should be displaying the maximum, which is, in this case, 5.584. Okay, but there's one other thing that I'm going to like to change. So the name of this numeric indicator is max or min. I would like that not to display the name of the variable, which is max or min. I would like it to actually show a label, or a caption in this case, telling me whether it's the maximum or the minimum value. So I'm going to go ahead and click stop. And the way I will do that is using a property node. So I'm going to go into this numeric indicator. I'm going to right click, and I will go to create property node, label text. So unfortunately it's buried 4 menus deep, but that's the one we're going to select. And what we get is this guy here. And what you'll notice is that this is the label text for max or min. And it's a read, so it outputs the text value that's currently in the label of max or min. Oops, I'm sorry, I don't want the label, I want the caption. Different property. So let me get rid of that. Right click, create property node, caption text. So this will allow me to read the caption text. I don't want to read the caption text, I want to write it. So I'm going to right click and click change all to write. So you'll notice my black arrow moved to the left here. Now I'm writing to the property caption.text. Now, over here, I'm not displaying the caption, I'm displaying the label. So if I right click and I hover over visible items, I can change visible items to caption. So now this is going to display the caption instead of the label. So I push delete and click out of it. So right now the caption is empty. Now I would also like this to display max or min, which is a string, based on this same Boolean. So I'm going to put in another selector, and I'm going to use this same toggle switch as my Boolean condition. And I'm going to output the result to my caption. And in this case, in my inputs, I'm going to put in strings. So I'm going to go to string constant, this up. In this one, I will max, and in this one I will put min, and I'll wire min to F and max to T. There we go. So now when I click run, my Boolean is of course not showing the right string. Here, let me debug a sec. So for some reason, my visible items text overflow got checked instead of caption. I don't quite know how that happened. So now you can see that the toggle switch is up. I'm showing max. So if I click run, I'm reading max and I'm showing the maximum value. If I move it downward, my max turns into min and I'm reading the min value. So there you have it, the full-blown solution to Prelab 1.